thing I know about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Finn Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one on Monday. It is officially draft week. We are just a few days away from the draft. Just a quick programming note. Usually, I actually, I have panels on both nights and such. But due to us not having any draft picks in the first round, I'm gonna ride it solo. I've been intending all since we made all these moves to ride it solo. And then on day 2 and day 3, I may bring people up while the draft is happening. Get you guys' thoughts here. Another quick programming note: during my draft coverage on Saturday, because I'm working on having a little special co-host because I'm gonna have to dip out for about 20 or 30 minutes because at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday I'll be joining Big O's live broadcast during the draft just to give him my quick thoughts on obviously the Dolphins' third round pick and around 2:30. So our fourth round pick should happen by the time I go up there on Saturday. So I'll be giving my thoughts on that and anything that happens in the draft. So I will be on Big O for about 20 minutes, a half hour on Saturday, while I have a co-host here holding it down until I get back. So just a quick programming note of where you'll be able to see me. And then as far as tomorrow, I will be dropping my big board, my final big board, the OT big board will be dropping. It's also going to be a draft centric show, kind of like what we're doing today with looking at Chris Grier's history. There's another idea I want to look at in terms of looking at the draft. We're going to do that. And then on Wednesday, all right, here we go. On Wednesday, I am dropping a 4-round mock draft. Every single pick is going to be hand done by me. We're not using any PFN or any of these mock simulators. I'm going to make all 4 rounds of picks by myself. And I'm going to drop that. Last year I had a lot of hits actually I did a 3-round mock, but this year I'm doing 4 so you can at least see 2 of the mocks hitting. So that's what's up. That's what to look out for in the next couple of days. And again, there's going to be draft elements to each show this week as well, not just the big board, not just the mock. I'm going to have other draft elements to it. Because what I'm actually going to do tomorrow, what the draft portion is going to be tomorrow, is I am going to give you guys an interesting list. You're gonna want to keep at hand when day 2 and the day 3 of the draft starts, but more on that as it happens. Now the things I keep get asked about recently. First of all, is there truth to the Waller and the Packers going on right now? Yes, there is truth between the Raiders and the Packers working on a deal that is eventually going to send Darren Waller to the Green Bay Packers. Yo, Batman, the information you're dropping, that's all Maurice's information, bro. You don't got to drop it in the chat. I talked to Maurice personally. Everything you're saying is Maurice's info that he dropped in the spaces. So I already know everything you're saying. I've already heard. As far as Deebo is concerned, and what I've been told is, again, this whole he doesn't want to play the position, as well as it being known in league circles he wants to come to Miami. The whole I don't want to play running back, et cetera. That I've been told that's a strategic move to actually keep the Jets off. What he's doing with that is he's trying to keep LaFleur at bay. He's trying to let it be known to the Jets that I don't want you to use me the way you did and I don't want you to get the impression I'm going to sign an extension with you. So I've been told privately that this whole running back thing you're hearing about in his usage, it's a Jets thing. He doesn't want to go to New York. That's what it is. Um so also I know the preference is for San Francisco to have a Deebo deal done before. The original preference was before Shanahan's presser tomorrow, but the more I hear about it, it's before the draft. And Lynch coming out today and saying specifically, he's the type of player you don't trade, blah, 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 blah. Again, that's all a ploy. Basically what I'm told is Lynch, he doesn't like what's being offered. Right? It's him trying to drive the price off. And the reason is Deebo is turning people off with, obviously, people don't want to give up a ton of assets knowing his desire is to end up in Miami, and he could try and force his hand again next offseason with not signing an extension and holding out on the franchise tag. And then and then with Deebo, it's just when you add in, hey, I don't want to be used the same way that I got over 1,700 all-purpose yards. Again, it makes teams weary. Like, why are you being so difficult? I've told y'all before. I told you guys weeks and weeks ago. This is literally a Deshaun Watson situation minus a no trade clause. That's literally what it is. So, he wants what he wants. Is he going to get it? It remains to be seen. I do know Mike McDaniel is the one. He's the one hard pressing and pushing for this more so than Grier and so are. Ross is signed off. If McDaniel wants it, McDaniel will get it. So again, from what I keep hearing, he's not looking to reset the market financially if he were to be reunited with Mike McDaniel. But if he isn't reunited with Mike McDaniel, I mean, he's going to be looking for the payday. Again, I keep hearing the Ravens continue to sniff around. They've already made 2 offers from what I've been told. And Deebo is weary about the Lamar Jackson Ravens situation right now. So, I mean, Lynch holding out thinking it's going to get a Tyreek Hill haul. It's just not going to happen. That's it. That's the end of the day. It ain't going to happen. So, Jay, that is not true at all. It is not over whatsoever. To see all the smoke that's been out there publicly and ignore it, that would be ignorant. So, golf actually does not hurt a QB's progress off the field. Golf actually helps with your mechanics. Golf actually does help you with your mechanics. So that is and it helps with your hip rotation. So actually golf is not a detrimental thing to Tua Tagovailoa playing it when he got nothing going on. Mario says, chances we move up to the 60th, 70th pick. Well, you're gonna have to package something from next season. You know what I mean? You're gonna just have to. Yeah, you're gonna have to give up something from next season because right now, if you were to package together the 102, the 125th, and their 2 7-round picks, the highest you can move up to is 90. Literally, that's the highest you can move up to is 90. So if you're going to move up to 60, 70, you'd have to package something from next year into it. But right now, our whole draft only equates to moving up 12 spots from 102. George, I've heard a quiet team that's sneaking around the whole Deebo situation is actually looking at a package deal with Deebo and Jimmy G. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on. I know Deebo does not want to play with Jimmy G. I know Deebo does not like Jimmy G. So that's all I can all say to you. So like I said, if a trade happens for Deebo this year, I wouldn't be shocked. Um it all depends on how Deebo and the 49ers play their hand. If this turns into they want to give him a choice like Tyreek Hill got from the 49ers, which I've heard is a possibility because they want to look good to other free agents out there, then hey, then he's going to come to Miami. If they're going to take the best package available, someone's going to outbid Miami. That's just what's going to happen. And then it's going to get pushed off till next year at the earliest when he refuses to sign an extension and potentially holds out if they try to put a franchise tag. So, um, you know, I think it's one of those things where don't, you know, you know, try and find out as much information as possible. Keep your ear to the ground, but go into it with no expectations. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're still locked in. Jasper, I'm actually one of the more plugged in guys in this community. So the facts are the facts. Everyone out here wants to be reasoned with sources now, but they can't be because, again, another trend I started. So yeah, I do know what I'm talking about. That's just a fact. So ask anyone on my Patreons, right? Ask anyone who's been watching my channel for over a year, and they'll tell you what the good deal is. So, as far as Deebo is concerned, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's still an A+ free agency without him. Now, if we hadn't traded for Tyreek already, then sure, I guess, I'd be pressing on them a little bit more to get it done. But right now, at this point, anything is just a cherry on top. Anything is just luxury right now. Even in the draft, I mean, at 102, 125, how much am I really expecting to hit? I showed you guys the history of those two specific picks, just 2 days ago. And over the last 10 years, it's basically a 50% hit rate at 102. And it's like a 20% hit rate, 30% hit rate at 125. So there's a 50-50 chance and a 1 in 3 chance we hit at both picks. Is what it is. Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it play out. Nothing we can do now. Everybody in that scouting department, we're going to see what they're really made of now. Because like Grier said, and he wasn't lying to y'all, when you have this few picks, it matters more to hit on them. Gonna have to hit on them. Don't know what else to say. So, a question I wanted to ask you guys as we sit back, as we look in this draft, and something I really did want to talk about here. Is there anyone worth trading up for in this draft? All right. Indeed, that's exactly what I've been saying the whole time. They're not going to bid against themselves right now. They know they have all the leverage. So people don't realize. You know what I mean? So we'll see it all happen. Omar Kelly, he put out his latest mock, and it made me ask the question to myself, because this was his final mock. And, he dropped it this morning. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, the Travon Walker climb is just so hilarious to me. Anyone who takes him over Evan Neal, Kyle Hamilton, Ike McWanu, Kevon Thibodeau, they should be fired. Seriously. Not even joking. I wouldn't even take him over Stingley or Sauce too. Okay, he has the Dolphins trading up to number 13, but he doesn't tell us what the trade package is. Like, this is okay. Let's just talk about this for a second. So let's say what he says. Let's show what he says. So the Dolphins trade with Texans via the Browns. He says Miami should trade a 2023 first round and second round pick to the Texans to add this inside linebacker who can do everything at a high level. Lloyd has playmaking instincts, defends the run well, is effective in coverage, and knows how to rush the passers. Okay, so he thinks we're going to move up with just a first and a second. Out of nowhere, that's just what's going to happen. We're going to move up. So he has our top needs as inside linebacker, edge, center, nose. Even he didn't list right tackle. Curious. Okay, so the 13th pick is worth 1,150 points. All right. Now, you look at, let's say, the 29th pick this year, the one we had from San Fran, that's only worth 640 points. Now, if you're going to trade them the 49ers pick next year, hoping it becomes a top 5 pick, the 5th overall pick is worth 1,700 points, so you'd be overpaying vastly. You see where I'm getting at here? It's really hard to gauge the value because, like, for example, the 29th pick we had this year and the 50th pick, all right? That would have only been worth 1,040 points, whereas that would have been 110 points short of the current value of the 13th pick. And I'm going to go even further. Why would you mortgage a first-round pick into the first round to go get a linebacker? That's a trade you make to move up if you need a quarterback. I love Devin Lloyd, but are we really out here about to spend a first and a second round pick to get Devin Lloyd from next year? And it might even be more because we don't know where those the team trading doesn't know where those picks land next year. They could very well say we want the 102nd and the 125th as well. See, that doesn't make any sense to me. That just is not smart management with your capital to move up and get an inside linebacker. And I'm going to show you why. And remember, again, Devin Lloyd was my linebacker 1. So I'm not sitting here hating on the prospect of the player. That has nothing to do with it. It's the value. That's overvaluing the position. That's just not smart capital management. I don't know what else to say. No matter how you break that down, it's just not smart capital management. Okay? So, like, if we were already sitting at like 29 and I could package another pick, I mean, I guess cool. But they're going to ask for even more than if we had the 29th pick because, again, they don't know where our picks fall next year. So, yeah, I know, Topher. So this is what I sit here and I look at this. I'm like, yeah, no. But are there players worth moving up for? I think there are, but under certain circumstances. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. Let's dive into some of the draft rumors going on that we can correlate to this question. Is there a player worth trading up for? Because I'm about to show you multiple that could be worth trading up for when we wouldn't have to give up a first rounder at all. So let's look into it. And one of them is a linebacker. And my number 2 linebacker at that. So here's Todd McShay's Draft Buzz article from today. And right here, I want you to look at this. 3 prospects I've heard who could fall out of round 1. Georgia linebacker Nakobe Dean, Purdue defensive end George Karlaftis, and Iowa center Tyler Linderbaum. Dean is the most likely of the trio to still be a first rounder. Listen, Let's play the draft value chart again. All right. So right now, our 102nd pick is worth 92 points. Our 125th pick is worth 47 points. And then our 2 7-round picks are worth 2 points combined. They're worth a point each. All right. So in total, you're dealing with about 141 points. All right. Now, if we were to move up to 33, let's say, all right, to the first pick of the second round, that is worth 581 points. So, by math, we would have about 390-ish points to make up for, correct? Well, that would be as easy as packaging a second round pick next year and a late pick, like a late day 3 pick, depending on where he falls, on one of these guys falls. And Tyler Linderbaum would make this offensive line top 15. And the reason why Linderbaum is going to fall is because he's so scheme specific. He is a zone as a zone guy gets. Outside zone 2 is preferable. He can still run inside zone, but this guy in the proper system is going to be better than Creed Humphrey was last year. George Karlaftis. You want my honest to God truth? You want me to hit y'all with the knowledge? The 4 best edge rushers in this class are Thibodeau, Hutchison, Ajobo, and Karlaftis. I got him rated higher than Travon Walker. Karlaftis would be awesome. Awesome. And then let's go Nakobe Dean. Why trade a first and a second for Devin Lloyd at 13 when there's talk of Nakobe Dean potentially falling? Why? And even further to the point, not only does Nakobe Dean have, and I'm going to show you why that mock makes no sense. Not only does Nakobe Dean have a pec injury, but now him and Kenyon Green have been flagged for knee injuries. And guess what? Devin Lloyd, who in that mock we traded up for 13 to get, is also flagged for injuries now after his physical check. So my whole point here is, are there guys worth trading up that high for? Yes, Nakobe Dean if he falls into the second. And Tyler Linderbaum would be at the top of my list if he falls in the second. Nakobe Dean if he falls in the second. They're worth trading up back into the second for. Now, if guys like Chad Muma and Leo Chanel, you know what I mean, are still lingering around, in the third, they're worth trading up for. So, yes, there's players worth trading up for in this draft. The issue is you got to be smart with it with your cap management. And 2, honest to God, trading back into the first round is off the table. We are not trading back up into the first round. Not happening, I don't think. So, there's guys worth it. But like I said, you got to be smart. But if Nakobe Dean is going to drop, if Tyler Linderbaum is going to be dropped into the second, those guys are worth it because you don't have to package a first with whatever you want to package to move up. So we'll see how it rolls. But if you want, the guy I would be watching is Tyler Linderbaum. If Tyler Linderbaum remember, Creed Humphrey slid all the way to 50 last year. Remember, And Creed Humphrey was cleaner than Biotish the year before. I thought he was better than Cesar Ruiz coming out. He slid, man. And look at the year he had. If Tyler Linderbaum starts entering the 40s, you have to make a move up. I will bang the table for that. 300 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. That is, if Nakobe Dean falls into 40s, you better make a move for Nakobe Dean or him. But my issue with Nakobe Dean is if I'm seeing pec injuries, if I'm seeing knee injuries, everyone knows he's my number 2 linebacker. My biggest issue with him was his size. Is the NFL level just going to wear and tear you down? You got a legitimate question about that right now. Tyler Linderbaum, though, I am telling you right now, name whoever you want in the chat. Put them at right tackle if we draft Tyler Linderbaum and add him to this line next to Hunt, Connor Williams, and Terron Armstead, and we have a top 15 line in the NFL. And also, I don't think they want to trade first next year unless it's for one of them for a Deebo, and if it's Deebo ain't on the table for them anymore, they want to sit on those picks for next. Because remember, we don't have a ton of cap space next year, right? We don't have a ton of cap space by any stretch. So the way to influx the talent into this roster next year is going to be through the draft. That's why they have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. Byron, he's been dangled in the Deebo talks. So you take on a cap hit. I think you take on some dead cap money with him, but we have the money to take it on this year. So they're not trading back up into the first. So doing mocks where they trade up into the first, we're wasting everyone's time. It's not happening. I just don't know what else to say. I don't think they have any desire to trade that far up and to mortgage that much of next year's draft it's going to take to move up into the top 15. No way. Because you got to think quarterbacks are going to slip. I still think, okay, so if you want my honest opinion, I think we could see 4 or 5 quarterbacks go again in the first round. I think you're going to see Willis go. I think Pickett's going to go. I think Matt Corral's going to go. And then I think Ritter's going to go. Because remember, Matt Corral and Malik Willis are the only 2 quarterbacks that have actually been invited to the draft. The other 2 guys I think could go are Pickett and Ritter. And then, Carson and Sam Howell in the second. And if anyone cares, my quarterback rankings are as follows. I have Willis at number 1. I have Willis at number 1. I have Sam Howell at number 2. I have Carson Strong at 3. Matt Corral at 4 and Ritter at 5. And I can really interchange Ritter or Corral. It doesn't really matter 4 or 5 for both those guys. I don't even have Kenny Pickett in my top 5. Good luck to whatever team drafts him. Knock yourselves out. So that's it. That's what you see. And hey, I know the Packers were sniffing around Deebo hard, and now the Packers have clearly pivoted to Darren Waller. Must tell you they didn't like what they heard. Tells you they didn't like what they heard. So that's where that's at. And Rome Gray, they already tried to trade Byron. That's why he got the surgery to guarantee his money. Why do you think he got the cleanup to guarantee his money? Because he knew they were trying to trade his ass. So he's gone next off season if nothing goes down this. Reason do you think Eichenberg and Kinley have trade value? Yeah, but not high. Yeah, Eichenberg and Kinley have value, but not much. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Speaking of the draft, Barry Jackson, and according to him, the Dolphins bring in 2 talented Big Ten defenders to team headquarters for visits. Add 2 Big Ten defenders to the list of draft prospects the Dolphins have flown into team headquarters in recent days. League sources confirmed that Maryland safety Nick Cross and Wisconsin defensive tackle Matt Henningsen were spotted at Dolphin offices on pre-draft visits. Cross had 66 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 interceptions last season. The Dolphins are looking to potentially add a 4th safety. Remember, I don't know if you guys saw, but we were in on Terrell Edmunds till the very end. I'll show you guys that in a second. So Lance Zierlein said Cross operated as the bouncer of the Maryland defense, playing with the aggression and explosiveness to throw opponents out of the club. He's a chase player who seeks to make a statement upon impact and has impressive stopping power near the line or as an open field tackler. He has the temperament, size, and toughness to become an eventual starter in the league. So Henningsen, a 6'3", 291-pound defensive tackle. He had 34 tackles and 3.5 sacks last season in 4 years at Wisconsin. He had 92 tackles, including 13.5 for a loss, 18 sacks, and 2 fumble recoveries, both for touchdowns. He's a third-day option for the Dolphins. PFN's Ian Cummings note that Henningsen blew up the Wisconsin Pro Day with excellent numbers. Had a 37.5-inch vertical, an 11-foot 9-inch broad. And then he had a 7.15 3-cone and 22 bench reps. And the 37.5 vertical would have been number 1 against defensive tackles. Cummings wrote about his burst, and his explosiveness, his tenaciousness, his strong, how powerful he is, etc. The Dolphins hope to emerge from the draft process with at least 1 developmental defensive tackle. Raekwon Davis is set as a starter, but there's opportunity behind him with veteran John Jenkins, the third-year player, Benito Jones, among other natural defensive tackles under contract. The Dolphins are also expected to look to add more offensive linemen, a tackle and a center, another edge player, and a running back. The Dolphins have only 4 picks, but are expected to be active in the undrafted free agent market. Now, here are the other players confirmed to have gone on 30 visits, and you just got to click on that link there. It'll take you to the whole list. You know, personally, here's the thing. I believe the safety talk because I mean the Tyrann Mathieu stuff that was going around. Again, it seems that they want to make an investment there, and it actually has me wondering about Eric Rowe. But my whole thing is like when I sit there and I look at the safety class, I don't think it's a very good safety class. Like I think it's very, very top heavy. So I just you're not getting Klein, you're not getting Hamilton, you're not getting Hill, but I mean, I don't know what to say. It's kind of it's kind of it's kind of odd, you know what I mean? So because I just don't think like I think there'll be better running backs on the board in terms of value wise. I think there'll be better linebacker options potentially on the board. Hell, there might even be better center options on the board at that time. There might even be a tackle project that's a better option. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not a huge fan of this safety class. I'm just not. And what I was talking about was this. The Dolphins and the Bengals were among teams in the mix on Terrell Edmunds before he re-signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, I mean, that's got to tell you right there that they're looking for options to replace Rowe right now. That's what that tells you. So, clearly active. Then the Tyrann Mathieu stuff we knew about that I and others had reported. So Clearly, they are doing their homework on the safety class. I'm telling you. I know you guys wanted the tackle big board that I'm dropping tomorrow, but I still think edge is big time in play for these guys. I think edge, linebacker, center, um, a, a running back, a tackle, and obviously a safety are in play. So there's a lot of positions in play with only 4 picks that they want to continue to fill out. So it's going to be interesting. It's basically going to come down to BPA at position of desire available. Best player available at position of desire. That's what it's going to come. So when you take all the positions you like, take the list of players available, take your highest graded one. Last, and we're going to segue from this into one of the main topics here. But I mean, you remember just a couple days ago we showed Bleacher Report put out an article about the top 5 the biggest draft busts for each team in the last 5 years. And if you remember, they had picked Austin Jackson for us, which we all discussed. It was like, Noah Benogany is clearly, I mean, is this even a question? So they decided to take it one step further, and they named a guy a lot of you were naming who didn't read the title properly. They went over the last 10 years. And over the last 10 years, they picked Dion Jordan. Dion Jordan was one of the most hyped prospects in the 2013 class, buzz that led to him becoming the 3rd overall pick by the Miami Dolphins. I want to stop here. Rome. The more I'm hearing on Pickens, it is realistically a possibility. Pickens could be on the board at 102. These some of the stuff I was seeing today in an Athletic article from quotes from scouts and executives around the league about Pickens, holy hell. It looks like teams dropped him farther than I did because of his red flags. And they're all saying the same thing. Immense talent, top 5 talent, top 3 talent, one of the best in this class, but the red flags. One guy, I literally read an executive, all he did was brag about Pickens, and then he said, but the red flags are huge, I wouldn't touch him. And I was like, what? You just bragged about him for like a paragraph, and then you said, but the red flags are too huge, I wouldn't touch him. Like, whew, man, if you get that kid's head in the game, Pickens is going to be special. Anyways, it was a regrettable choice to take Dion Jordan, the edge rusher who had accumulated 12 and a half sacks during his final 2 seasons at Oregon, would go on to record just 3 during his 4-year stint in Miami. Jordan played in all 16 games during a rookie campaign before missing 6 because of a suspension stemming from multiple violations of the league's substance abuse policy as a sophomore. Miami was forced to go without Jordan for the entire 2015 campaign after he was hit with a season-long suspension for a 3rd substance abuse. And it was all weed, I believe. He was reinstated for 2016, but the Dolphins elected not to activate the pass rusher that season and cut him following a failed physical in 2017. Jordan went on to spend time with the Seahawks, Oakland Raiders, and 49ers between 2017 and 2020, but never recorded more than 4 sacks in a single season during that span. Given how high he was selected and how he contributed, Jordan will forever be remembered as one of the biggest draft busts in NFL history. Man, and I bought his jersey because it had my name on the back of it. Ugh. Whew. Hurting. Philippe says, do you know what Pickens' red flags are? Yeah. He's punched a teammate in the face. He's been ejected from a game because he punched an opposing player in the face. There's other stuff too. I want to say there's other stuff too. I forget. I have it all listed in my notes, but there's like a bunch of things for him. He's got a ton of red flags, like a ton. So Dion Jordan, last 10 years, biggest bust. I mean, you ain't gonna hear an argument from me. But that brings up a very interesting topic. What has been the biggest, who have been the biggest hits and misses of Chris Grier's tenure since he gained drafting power in 2016. Who have been the biggest hits and the biggest misses? So I said, you know what? Let's show everyone the paradox of how well he can hit, but how badly he can miss sometimes. So let's start off with a simple one. 2016. The best was clearly Xavier Howard. All right, first round talent, dropped out of the first round. We picked him up. The rest is history. He is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. I mean, Xavier Howard is that guy, and arguably Chris Grier's, well, not arguably, he is Chris Grier's best draft pick ever. Hands down. The worst, I had to go with Leonte Carew. You know, he was drafted before Jakeem Grant in the third round, 86th overall. And let's be honest, he's triggity. This guy is triggity trash, or was triggity trash. Only played 3 games in his final season, 2018. Been out of the league since then. In 3 years in the league, targeted 22 times, 12 receptions for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns. Leonte Carew was just, I mean, he had a cool name. It was nice to say his name. And they traded up for Leonte Carew, if I remember correctly. So, whew, you know, everyone knows how I feel about Jakeem Grant. You took Leonte Carew before you even took Jakeem Grant. Man, he was bad. Leonte Carew out of Rutgers in 2016, third round, 86th overall. Whew, don't know what they saw. 4.5 speed at 6'1", 215. He was bad, and he's out of this league. So, as great as X was, Leonte Carew was clearly the polar opposite when we talk about, you know, draft picks and hits and misses. I don't know what else to say. Now, let's move on to 2017, guys. So for 2017, I had his best was Devon Godshaw, and his worst was Charles Harris. But this was an overall fantastic draft, and I'll get into that in a second. Why I think it was a fantastic draft. But Devon Godshaw, obviously now a New England Patriot. You know, a guy who, you know, obviously was really good in 2019, his best year with us. 2018, he's pretty good too. You know, battled in 2020 some, I believe, his injuries or whatever. You know, he was the most productive and consistent player. And when you look at what he's taken at, he was drafted in the 5th round at 178. So you look at the value we got there for Devon Godshaw. I mean, let's be honest, that's pretty good. I gotta give I gotta give it pretty good. Now, the worst is obviously Charles Harris. I mean, you took him 22 overall, and TJ Watt was on the board. Now, we could play revisionist history with this whole draft if we really wanted to. And by that, I mean, you know, for example, I mean, we could have taken Juju Smith over Raekwon McMillan. Aaron Jones was on the board when we took Isaac Asiata. But when you actually look at this draft and what it was, you know, let's be honest, Charles Harris, when he left Miami, he's turned into a, you know, a decently productive player. All of a sudden, he found out how to get sacks in Atlanta, and he had the best year of his career in Detroit. Now, he was still an awful pick with the Miami Dolphins and a bust with the Dolphins, but at least he's made somewhat of a career out of it since he left, and he's still, you know, kicking around. Raekwon McMillan, again, another guy still kicking around the league. I think he got the short end of the stick. Cordea Tankersley, I thought he was pretty good. Injuries ended up sidelining Cordea Tankersley, but we got contribution from Cordea Tankersley. You look at Isaac Asiata, right? Another guy who he's still, you know what I mean? He left us and he went on to, play for other teams. I mean, I still wouldn't call him a hit by any stretch of the imagination. He hasn't been in the league. He retired in 2019. It would probably be between him and Charles Harris as the bust here. But Isaac Asiata was he's decent. But let's be honest. Yeah, it would be him or Charles Harris with the biggest bust, clearly. But then you got Godshot at 178. We took Vincent Taylor at 194. Isaiah Ford at 237. So for me, those would be. Oh, sorry, I screwed up. It wasn't the 2017 draft that I said was Grier's best. It was actually the 2018. I'm going to show you why. So, hey, what can you say? What can you say? Actually, had a couple really strong drafts, to be honest with you. If you look at 2017, 2018 and 2019 were pretty freaking strong. 2021 was amazingly strong, but he's actually a better drafter than people give him credit for. All right, let's get into this again. I'm pretty sure the draft I'm talking about is Gaskin, so it must be 2019 that I meant is the best one. But 2018, the best pick. I mean, you could put Minka or Gesicki here. I'm going to go with Minka because he has higher personal accolades, individual accolades in the NFL. But yeah, like Isaiah Ford was in that 2017 draft, and he's still kicking around, right? So 2018, the best for me has got to be Minka. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't argue you if you tried to say, well, look at we got Gesicki at 42. I wouldn't argue that. I wouldn't argue. Well, I would argue if you said we got Jerome Baker at number 3 at 73, but you look at the first 4 picks of this draft. Okay, Minka taken 11th overall. Gesicki 42, Jerome 73, Durham Smythe at 123. And then the guy who I think is the worst one of the bunch, Kalen Ballage at 131. Now, I'm not going to count Cornell Armstrong at 209 or Quentin, Poling, the linebacker of Ohio, 227. Though I always say, when you start getting into 200s, they're glorified UDFAs. Kalen Ballage, everyone knows how I felt about Kalen Ballage. I hated Kalen Ballage. The guy lived off that run against the Vikings forever. So, yeah, 2019 is his best draft. I just was looking right here. So, you look at Kalen Ballage, and anyone who's been around inside the NFL since Ballage is on the team, they remember me and EM consistently going back and forth. Absolutely hilarious. Me and him going back and forth over and over again. Over Kalen Ballage. Classic stuff. But, Kalen Ballage, a guy who's never rushed for over 305 yards in a season. He never rushed for over 200 yards as a Dolphin. In his rookie year, he had as many fumbles as he did touchdowns. I just never bought in. He is how I coined the phrase in this community and on this channel. Give me football players that are athletes, not athletes trying to be football players. Kalen Ballage helped me coin that phrase. So he's with Pittsburgh now. I hated Kalen Ballage. I still hate Kalen Ballage. Terrible draft pick. I just thought Kalen was awful. I'm sorry. Maybe a little bit biased, but I couldn't stand the freaking guy. 2019. Now this is his best draft class. This is hands down. I had to put Chandler Cox as the worst pick, and I actually don't think Chandler Cox was that big of a pick. I actually like Chandler Cox, and I feel like if we had him still, he'd fit right in. But let's talk about this. We took Christian Wilkins in the first. We took Dieter in the third. We took Van Ginkel in the fifth. We took Isaiah Prince in the sixth, Chandler Cox in the seventh, and Myles Gaskin in the seventh. Every single pick is a legitimate contributor at the NFL level. Every single pick. That is absolutely fantastic stuff. Like, I don't even like calling Chandler Cox the worst draft pick in this class because I think they're all good picks. I really do. So that's this is clearly his best draft. But hands down. Christian Wilkins, Michael Dieter, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Myles Gaskin came out of that draft, who are literally have given us starting contributions to this team. Isaiah Prince, who is giving starting contributions at the NFL level, and Chandler Cox. This is a great draft. Honestly, if you want my honest opinion, 6 picks, 6 hits. It's a really good draft. This is what I'm saying. You can't hate. Grier hits more than people give him credit for. Grier's a better drafter than people think, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, moving on to 2020. The best I have as it stands on April 25th is Robert Hunt from that class. The worst I have from that is Curtis Weaver. Now, I got to take an L on Curtis Weaver because I was pushing that kid since October. It just didn't work out. The work ethic stuff, you know what I mean? His body, once NFL teams got in our hands, the stuff that was rumored became a reality with Curtis Weaver. The tools were there, but the work ethic and the body was not there. And now he's out of the league, I'm pretty sure. I don't think he's with the Browns anymore. But Robert Hunt, clearly the best of the bunch. I think he's on an all-pro trajectory at guard right now. Overall, this class has a lot of questions. I think when you look at it, obviously Hunt's a hit. Either way, Tua showed he can be at minimum a capable NFL starter. Austin Jackson, clearly, clearly the jury's still out on Austin Jackson. So I got Weaver. Yeah. And you could say Noah Igbenogany is the worst pick here. I wouldn't argue at all with that. I mean, you could say Noah based on value, but at least Noah's given us some snaps. You could say Noah. I wouldn't argue. If you said Noah, I wouldn't argue. I'd probably agree with you. But Weaver gave us nothing. Nothing. And we traded up. If I remember correctly, we traded up to get Weaver. If I remember correctly. Did we? I think we did. I know the pick was originally we got it from the Eagles, and the Eagles got it from the Cowboys. But you look at that, Tua, Austin Jackson, Noah, Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis, Brandon Jones, Solomon Kinley, Jason Strowbridge, Curtis Weaver, Blake Ferguson, Malcolm Perry. So right now, Tua should become a hit this year for sure. Austin Jackson, I think, is going to become a competent starter. Noah still is going to be Leafs flame out. Robert Hunt's going to become an all-pro. Raekwon Davis is a hit. Brandon Jones is a hit. Solomon Kinley has given us starting snaps, though I think he's been phased out by the scheme. Jason Strowbridge isn't here anymore. Curtis Weaver isn't here anymore. Blake Ferguson still our long snapper. Malcolm Perry. I mean, you look at it, it's a The best way to describe 2020 is it's hits with questions lingering. You know what I mean? I would I would say there's like hits with questions lingering on 2020. So, but yeah, Curtis Weaver, I would say Curtis Weaver was probably the worst in that class. And then finally 2021, the best Waddle, the worst for me is Eichenberg. Why? Because we traded up to get Eichenberg. Makes it even worse. Now, again, if you said Waddle, Phillips, or Holland as your hit, you would be right. That's how good this draft pick was. This draft was. That's just facts. So, you know, Waddle, our top three picks were like home runs. They weren't even hits. They were like freaking home runs, grand slams, whatever you want to call them. Waddle, dude, breaks the rookie, reception record. Absolute stud. You know, even in an offense where there was no one there to help him, like you got to appreciate it. You know what I mean? Now, you sit here and you look at a cat like Liam Eichenberg. Liam Eichenberg, here's the thing. We traded up to get this guy. And the guys who were on the board, like, I don't know, Creed Humphrey. All right. You know, I don't like the fact that we invested capital to move up and get a guy that allowed 9 sacks. So second most in the NFL. 10 penalties, sixth most in the NFL. You know what I mean? Top 5 in pressures allowed. And then when you give up a day 2 pick from next year's draft to move up and ensure you get him, like not only was his play poor, you overpaid to hell for this guy. So listen, because you overpaid and paid what you did for him, that's what makes him the worst pick of 2021 when you also factor in his play. Guys, over 400 of you in the room, smash that like button. Please subscribe if you are new. Um Continuing on here. This Brady to Miami story that the guys over at Pro Football Talk will not let go. I mean, it took a ridiculous step, and I'm going to show you why. So, Dov Kleiman, he tweeted out this article from Chris Sims from the Big Lead. The Dolphins plan to trade a second-round pick for Tom Brady and a first-round pick for Coach Sean Payton. In what world? Do you realize how dumb that sounds? In what world were the Buccaneers going to move off of this guy for a second-round pick? In what world would it only take a first to acquire Sean Payton when they wouldn't even let you talk to him? Like, and I'll show you the article here just to show you the ridiculousness. But you're saying a first and a second could have gotten Tom Brady and Harbaugh? Sorry, Sean Payton. And the reason why I said Harbaugh, I'll explain to you in a minute. So, Dolphins plan to trade second round pick for Tom Brady, first round pick for Sean Payton. There are a few ways to look at Tom Brady's sudden decision to return to football for at least one more year. One way to assume that Brady's competitive nature and the rush nature of the announcement ate away at him until he couldn't take it anymore. Another way, the more suspicious way, is to wonder what happened, why it happened the way it did, and connect dots. Those who took the path are behind the rumors that Brady wanted to join the Miami Dolphins as an owner, bring in Sean Payton and unretired to force the Buccaneers to trade his rights to Miami, where he would then play at least one more season. So you're saying he would have held the Bucs hostage and they would have only taken a second round pick for him. Okay. It's a rumor that hasn't been publicly shot down by the Bucks, but McDaniel called it fake news. But reports have cast significant doubt on the legitimacy of the story. That has not stopped others from adding details. Chris Sims, appearing on God Bless Football podcast by whoever that name is, explained the Dolphins were ready to trade a second rounder to Tampa Bay for Brady and a first for Payton, but the Brian Flores lawsuit upended any plans. They were going to trade a second round pick to Tampa and get Brady. The Bucks weren't going to hold him hostage. Sean Payton and the Saints, that was going to be a first round pick to get the deal done. Sims confirmed during his appearance on God Bless Football. It was a very, very real, tangible thing, and the Brian Flores lawsuit definitely threw a wrench in it. Okay, this is what I'm going to say about this. Sean Payton was not the coach they were pursuing up until the Brian Flores lawsuit. We had already been turned down. What are you talking about, the Brian Flores lawsuit? We weren't even allowed to talk to Sean Payton. This is public knowledge that the Saints wouldn't even let us talk to Sean Payton. And that was over a week and a half before the Brian Flores lawsuit hit. So right there, you've got a massive plot hole in your story that doesn't add up. But what I will say is, and I want everyone to listen to me real carefully right now, because I'm going to give you the real scoop. You want the scoop? You want the scoop? Reason will give you the scoop. The coach we were pursuing before the Flores shit hit the fan was John Harbaugh. That's who they were pursuing. Okay? I know on, like, as good of an authority. John Harbaugh. I know, Jim Harbaugh. I apologize. I always get John and Jim. Jim Harbaugh was who they were after. I have it on, like, great authority, fantastic authority. I meant Jim. I said John. I meant Jim. I have it on authority that Jim Harbaugh was telling people in the NFL, in head coaching circles, the Sunday, 3 days before that lawsuit hit, that he was in the mix for the job and it was a real possibility, and the Minnesota play was a decoy to get him out of Michigan so it looked like Ross wasn't stealing him from Michigan. And do I gotta tell y'all what the tie is between Tom Brady, Stephen Ross, and Jim Harbaugh? Tell me what the tie is. Anyone can name what the tie is. They all went to Michigan. Yes, it's true. Brady, if he were to come here, wanted a veteran head coach. Payton was long off the table before the Brian Flores lawsuit. That's a fact. Another fact I know, because I've seen the evidence firsthand, Harbaugh, I knew up until the Sunday before the Flores stuff hit that he was in the mix for real. Now, I'm happier than a pig, and you know what, with McDaniel and how this offense worked out, and blah, 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 blah. I'm over the moon with our offense right now and everything. I am happy. But all I'm doing is telling you the true story. It was not Sean Payton leading up to the Flores suit. It was Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh. It was Brady, Ross, Harbaugh. That's what it was going to be. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why. It was not Payton. It was Harbaugh. Okay? And the whole Minnesota thing was a ploy so they could make it look like another team was going to try and snag him so Ross could come in and swoop in and take Michigan's coach, because guess what? Ross and the owner of the Minnesota Vikings are real estate buddies. It was all a play. That's all it was. So it was never about Sean Payton. That is bullshit. Sean Payton We inquired and got turned down immediately. Every team that inquired, the Cowboys inquired. There were multiple teams that inquired. No one got past the inquiring process. And that all happened within about 24 hours of him retiring. Okay? So this whole thing that they're trying to pitch is bullshit. Exactly, Garn. That's why Harbaugh wasn't signing his extension. I also knew for a fact, stone cold fact, again, seen the evidence that he had refused, he had been tabled their extension twice and walked away from signing it 2 different times. That's what this was all about. It was going to be Harbaugh and Brady coming to Miami if they could pull it off. That's where you were at. It was never about Payton. So I'm happy with how everything worked out. I love my coach. I love how my offense looks. I love the defense. It's intact. I'm happy with everything, so I'm not going to complain. You're not going to hear a squeak out of me. So, just so y'all know, that's what the deal is. It was never about Sean Payton. It was about Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. That's what it was about. That's what the play was for. All right? Now, interesting little thing here I wanted to show all y'all. Emmanuel Ogbah. He has 25 quarterback hits since 2020, tied for 5th most among all edge rushers. So when you go back to 2020, when we signed Emmanuel Ogbah, I remember when we were doing those streams and me and everyone was raving about Byron and all these big names, and me and EM kept telling everyone, bro, that blend of power and athleticism that Emmanuel Ogbah possesses is next level. It's going to be next level in this defense. And as long as he stays healthy, and he's stayed healthy, he's stayed consistently healthy, he's been fantastic. And guess what? Emmanuel Ogbah got paid, got an extension, and has become a cornerstone of this defense. And he's going to help further the progression of a guy like Jalen Phillips. Absolutely loved it. I warned all y'all when I did the prospect profile of Jalen Phillips after we drafted him last year, how deadly him and Ogbah lined up next to each other, not just opposite of each other, but next to each other would be. And every time they ran that package, we caused nothing but fits and we're almost unblockable to that side. So going to be interesting to see the wrinkles and what they do in year 2. I honestly can't wait. And finally for you guys, Merry Christmas. The Miami Dolphins will play 2 afternoon games and a primetime contest on Christmas Day for the first time. The NFL will capitalize on Christmas Day falling on a Sunday. The league will have 3 games on December 25th for the first time. 2 in the afternoon on CBS and Fox, followed by a primetime contest on NBC. NFL Vice President of Broadcasting Mike North revealed the triple header on a podcast hosted by WGR radio host and Buffalo Bills sideline reporter Sal Capaccio. Christmas, when it falls on an NFL game day, we've had a lot of success there. All due respect to our friends of the NBA, it is something that our friends are interested. If Christmas falls on a Sunday, it makes perfect sense. So, last year, Green Bay over Cleveland averaged 28.6 million viewers on Fox. And then Indianapolis and Arizona in 2021 had 12.6 million on the NFL network. So which was the second highest viewed game in network history. So for week 16, the league will have the regular Thursday night game on the 22nd. 11 games will be on the 24th, Christmas Eve, and then a night game as well. Awesome. And then Christmas triple header with a final game on Monday night, which is Boxing Day. So honestly, can't wait. The most famous December 25th game remains Miami's 27-24 victory over Kansas City in double overtime in the AFC divisional round. So there you go. Good Christmas present, man. We're going to have we're gonna have some football this Christmas. It's gonna be a white Christmas full of pigskin. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Can't wait um to see uh to watch football on Christmas. It's gonna be awesome, man. And with how it lines up, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do on New Year's. It's gonna be real interesting to see what they do on New Year's. I ain't gonna lie. Um, guys, what here again? Let's go over the programming notes. Tomorrow night, I'm gonna be back. We're gonna drop the final big board. The offensive tackle big board will be coming for you, as well as, um, excuse me, hold on. I'm going to have a draft topic to go along with that show, as well as any news that comes through the wire tomorrow. We'll go over on Wednesday night. Mock season, baby. We are going to. I'm going to unveil my 4-round, hand-picked, no simulator used 4-round mock draft. So at least I can get 2 Dolphins picks in there. Usually I do 3 rounds, but we'll do 4 rounds for you guys. So that'll drop on Wednesday. Thursday, I'll be live for night 1. Friday, I'll be live for night 2, and I'll be bringing some of you guys up here on night 2. And then on day 3, I'm going to be having a special co-host. I got someone in mind, and I'm going to be dipping out for about a half hour during the stream because I'll be on Big O's show on Saturday around 2:30 for 20 minutes to a half hour, just to give my thoughts on the draft and how everything's going. So draft season is here. I'm battling, me and the family up here are battling through COVID. I'm still fighting it. It seems to be getting worse over the last couple of days. So hopefully I wake up tomorrow, feel a little bit better. Man, it's draft season, baby. And it's a beautiful thing, baby. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I can't stress it enough. And I really hope you guys tune in. And you know what? I know it'll be super exciting. And if we trade jumped into the first, and the last couple of years have been so exciting with the amount of picks we've had. But this year we get to sit back, let the draft come to us. Now I know when 102 and 125 rolls around, we'll all be panicking a little bit that they make the right pick. But basically what I'm going to do tomorrow for you guys is I'm going to make a list for you guys. So tomorrow night, I'm not only going to drop my offensive tackle big board, I'm going to drop a list all of you guys are going to enjoy. And I'm going to drop off a list of players to you guys who I think could be realistically available at 102 and 125 that they could be targeting. So we're going to do that. I'm going to drop that for you guys tomorrow. A list you guys can keep on hand. You can check it off when the draft happens. So I'll be dropping that list tomorrow. Players who could realistically be available at 102 and 125, along with my big board. So it'll be if you are a draft fan, it'll be an interesting show for you. And then, like I said, on Wednesday, 4-round mock. And in all of that stuff, there's going to be nothing but news and rumors as it pertains to the Dolphins, and also interesting stuff regarding the draft that, draft heads might find interesting or could correlate to us. But that's what it is, baby. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through tonight. I am going to see you guys tomorrow, and really, I'm going to see all of y'all this week because it is a long week coming ahead of us. So let's hit it. Until next time, everyone, I appreciate all y'all. You already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day.